today I'm going to be looking at a game by request from Shintai123 which he mentions is a long lost gem from the RPG world. The game in mention is Sōru Bureidā for the Super Nintendo. So let's go and see what Sōru Bureidā is all about.
Sōru Bureidā was developed by Quintet. It was published by Enix and directed by Masaya Hashimoto. Produced by Yasuyuki Sone, and the programmer once again was Masaya Hashimoto. Writers was Tomoyoshi Miyazaki and Tatsuo Hashimoto. It was for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The release dates were for Japan, January the 31st, 1992. For North America was November the 27th, 1992. But for the PAL was not released until January the 27th, 1994. The genre is a role-playing game, or RPG, for a single player and was released on cartridge. In Japan, it was known as Sōru Bureidā and also had a slightly different title intro to the rest of the world. Similar to the maker's previous game, ActRaiser, the player will take control of a divine angel, deity or lesser deity, or a kind of avatar, sent by a divinity called the Master, also known as Gaia, to destroy monsters and release the captured souls of a world's inhabitants. As the player, you will free a series of towns by fighting evil monsters in traditional dungeon-style battles. Destroying monsters' lairs in the dungeons causes a soul belonging to a former town occupant to be liberated and reincarnated. This is often a human, but it could be anything from a dolphin to a talking flower. As the souls are freed, the town is reconstructed around the people. The new town occupants give the player advice and items. When the player defeats the boss, or the boss monster, which is imprisoning all the souls of the head of each town, the area is cleared and the player can continue. After our hero frees the first 6 villagers, he is then granted access to the world of evil, where the final villain awaits. So, the Master sends one of his heavenly divine companions in the form of a human warrior to the frail empire, where the evil spirit, Death Toll, also known as Dark Gaia, has destroyed all villagers and incinerated the souls of all the living creatures in his monster's lairs, leaving the world empty. The warrior must defeat the monsters and liberate the inhabitants from their lairs. Our warrior travels throughout the kingdom, defeating monsters in each of 6 regions to gather 6 magic stones, each a different color, in order to open the path to Death Toll, who now hides in the world of evil. The warrior must also find 3 sacred artifacts to call upon the power of the Phoenix to defeat Death Toll once and for all. So, along the way, our warrior falls in love with Lisa, the daughter of a brilliant inventor named Dr. Leo. Our warrior learns that the world's devastation came about after King Magritte imprisoned Dr. Leo and forced him to make a machine to contact Death Toll from the evil world. After being summoned, Death Toll offered the king the gold keys for every soul from his kingdom, and under the counsel of his wife, Magritte, she agreed. but he himself was eventually imprisoned. Dr. Leo is still in Magritte Castle's prison after the warrior frees him, and Leo later sacrifices his life to kill the queen, who still wanted to bargain with the evil Death Toll. So here, we're going to see the two forms that he will appear to you. At first, he seems to look like an ordinary wizard of some kind, and appears not to be so threatening. And when you think it's all over, and you have defeated him, that's when Death Toll shows his true form.
That must be great.
So, after reaching the world of evil and defeating finally Death Toll, the warrior is returned to heaven. 1 year later, the master realizes that the warrior misses his life as a human and agrees to send him back to the frail empire, but under one condition: that the hero would not have any memory of his past or anything that ever happened or anyone that he ever met. So, our warrior wakes up in a grass valley where Lisa recognizes him immediately, though he does not remember her. They leave together and renew their friendship once again.
So that was my review of Soul Blazer, a title that I haven't heard in a long while. But I must say, after having another look at it, it was pretty worthwhile. Soul Blazer has interesting but very few characters, and I would say in early stages to what we get in Brain Lord or the Great Terranigma, and at times became a bit too repetitive. But other than that, it is fun. The levels are well made, and the warrior gets to handle some pretty cool weapons and powers. And the soundtrack is pretty cool too. So, Shintai123, you were right with that phrase you said. Soul Blazer is definitely a lost gem in the world of the RPG, and one of my greats in the Enix and Quintet collection. Well, thanks for watching, and until the next time,